We live yet? Hello, hello. Welcome to this week's Profit Maximize Moment. My name is Wayne Bilal. I'm a CPA in El Paso. Tax season. It's that time of year again, but it's also a time of year to start looking about whether you really have a business or you have what I call a hobby. I'm not talking about hobby rules like the IRS talks about, though similar. IRS picks certain industries, and if you haven't made money in a certain amount of time, they try to argue it's a hobby, especially like horse racing or people selling, stuff they bought. They go to Christmas fairs and things like that. I'm talking about business owners that are trying to run their business and make money and don't realize they've crossed the line. They're still showing up every day, still calling it a business, but the numbers tell a different story. Okay, this matters because things are getting harder, and one thing I can say is constant in business is change. Things are going to change all the time. So right now what we're seeing is inflation. Well, it's slowing down. Still, in some areas, it's high. Slower sales, tighter margins. Every industry can complain about this, and they're pushing more and more businesses into what I call the hobby zone. All right. Today, I'm going to cover three signs that your business is really not a business, not a feasible business without some help. All right. Um, what we're talking about. Look, if your business can't consistently pay you, the owner, what is a fair market wage and generate a profit beyond that, it's probably a hobby with a business license. I like that. Somebody else put that in there and I liked it. All right. That's a good way to put it. It's a hobby with a business license. I had a client who was in business for 6 years, working 60 hours a week. I remember this guy. Uh, Never took a salary, took a little bit of money out of the business when he had to, when he could. Basically, when we started calculating his profit and what after all his expenses and cost of goods sold and everything, he was making well below minimum wage. And he was a smart guy. I mean, he knew how to do a business. He knew his business. He didn't know how to make profit with his business. Okay, be careful. What happens? Why does this go on for years and years? It's usually because we're telling ourselves a story rather than looking at the numbers and trying to come up with a plan and doing the hard work of turning a business, if it can be turned into it, not all of them can, into a real business that pays you what you're worth. Okay. So I like the one I hear. Next quarter is going to be better. I, it's an expensive sentence to say the least. But usually it's like, well, I got a new contract I think I can get, or I have this, or I'm going to collect better, whatever. And they come up with a different reason every quarter, if they're lucky quarterly. I mean, if I have people that are actually looking at it quarterly, they usually don't run into this problem. So ask yourself, if nothing were to change in the next 90 days, what do the numbers actually show? And that's your real business plan right now. You don't have one. Okay. So um, Fix isn't working harder, it's working smarter. It's getting honest about pricing, expenses, strategy, making sure all your products are cash cows. We did a profit reset, profit challenge last week. I think that still can get it. If you want it, you can still get the replay. Send me at my email, Wayne at wjb-cpa.com. Just send me a link asking for it. Also, keep an eye out. We're going to be starting our 13-week Profit Master Program. It's going to be based on the 90-day Profit Reset book that I have, though in much more detail. All right, and really well worth it. I've tried to price it at different levels so that nobody has an excuse not to be able to go. As simple as that. All right, a client has. I've done it. I've had product lines and I've dealt with clients that have different divisions, if you want to call it that, or product lines, and one of them is carrying the other. Well, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know that this is the one I should be concentrating on. And it's something we discussed at a little length last time. Just raising prices sometimes can help. I know I can't raise my prices. Yes, you can. There's different ways to do it depending on what industry you're in. All right. And basically, uh, she what she did, and I remember this one. She got rid of, and I did the same. I'll tell you hers first. She got rid of 2 total profit lines, raised her prices by 15%, and went from losing money to paying herself something in 1 quarter. All right. I basically did the same thing. All right. We got rid of bookkeeping, got rid of payroll tax returns, got rid of sales tax returns. We don't do a lot of stuff because they weren't profitable and they took people. I mean, I had more employees than I have now. Now we were up to 6 or 7 employees, but I was the only CPA, and most of them were bookkeepers that weren't really trained very well. I tried, but it's hard to find. Now we have 3 CPAs, an enrolled agent, and Rosemary runs the place, and she passed the first part of her enrolled agent. So everybody here does what we say we do. We focus on what? On doing a tax return in a way that doesn't get you audited as best as we can. Um, Tax planning, so you don't pay more than you should legally. All right, and profit coaching, which, by the way, we're going to be running a course starting. I have to kick it back. I was going to start it the week after next, but the deadline is March 15th, corporate deadline. So I'm just going to delay 1 week. But we'll have something where I can put this up here, and you'll get emails if you're there. If you're on the list. If not, go get on the list. All right. Go to my website, wjb-cpa.com. Join it. Get on the list. Don't download anything. It's been hacked for a while. We're fixing that. I know we're transferring it over. One of my clients downloaded something when he shouldn't have. All right. Look, business that doesn't pay you isn't a business. It's a very expensive hobby. If that's what you want, that's fine. But most of us opened our business hoping to have a better lifestyle, to be able to support ourselves, to actually have some financial independence, to maybe have a business that could help the family and bring them on board, pass it on to them. It won't work if you don't do the hard work and actually run a business like a business. And that means working on it, not just hoping. Hope is not a strategy. Hope is nice, but hope is not a strategy. All right. So having a strategy to work better. Run your numbers. Find out what you would pay to have somebody do what you do. Is the business covering that? If it's not, then fix it or shut it down. One of the two. I'd rather you fixed it. You put most business owners, even at what I call the hobby level, put a lot of time, energy, work, and sweat into it. I'd rather you didn't throw that away. I've been working with small business owners a long time, so we're going to have that online group coaching program, which means you're not paying me one-on-one or any coach one-on-one. We'll have some one-on-one time if you want it. I got 3 different options, so we can talk about that. But no, we're going to, if you don't make changes, I'm going to end on this. If you continue to do what you're doing, you're going to get the same results. You have to change. And I'm going to throw this in here. The top 25 reasons the SBA put out for small businesses failing. 20, maybe 2 have to do with what I would call your core competency. In other words, if you're a dentist, being a good dentist, a CPA, being a good CPA, an electrician, being a good electrician, baking cakes, being great at it. The other 23 have to do with not knowing how to run your business. That's the vast majority of the reasons businesses fail. So get help. If it's not me, I hope it is. I mean, I'd be happy to help you guys. So we're running these courses. We're going to start marketing it next week and the week after. Join us if you can. If not, well, keep running your hobby. I'd rather you didn't. Let's make this, our most profitable year ever. And until next week, God bless and see you at church. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much. Bye.